Welcome back to Raw. It's Aisha. If you're new here, my name is Aisha. How you doing? So for the second day of Veganuary, I really wanted to make a Reuben. My mom used to love these. It would be the only thing we would go to Arby's for, was pretty much to get these Reubens. So I wanted to make a vegan version. I didn't have rye bread. I used sourdough because, you know, I'm a sourdough kind of girl. But you can use rye bread. But let's just jump right into the recipe today because it's going to be a longer one. So we're going to start off by making the mock meat, and we're going to be using vital wheat gluten for this, and about 1¼ cups of vital wheat gluten, and we're going to add that to a bowl. Then go ahead and add about 1 tablespoon of ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of coriander, and if you don't have coriander, you could use cumin. It's a pretty good substitute if you don't have it. 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, 2½ teaspoons of pumpkin spice. And I know what you're thinking. It sounds a little weird, but there's a lot of seasonings that go well with this recipe in the pumpkin spice like seasoning mix. So instead of going out and getting all these individual seasonings, I just use the pumpkin spice seasoning, and it's actually a really good substitute. Saves a buttload of money. So don't be afraid to use it. Just don't go overboard because it can get a little bit of overwhelming taste. So try not to overdo it. If you want to even lower it to about 2 teaspoons, you will be totally fine. It might turn out a little better. I'm gonna have to try that myself next time I make it. But don't be alarmed. This isn't a prank. It's not gonna come out tasting like a pumpkin pie. Just trust me on this. We're then gonna add 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. You could always add more if you like a little bit more heat, or tone it down if you're not a fan of spice. And then just give everything a quick mix in our bowl. And that's gonna be it for the dry ingredients. We're just gonna set this aside for now and start putting together our wet ingredients. So go ahead and start off with 1 cup of cold water. And then to the cold water, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of mustard, 2 tablespoons of any kind of oil. I use vegetable oil for this. 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, and 3 cloves of garlic chopped up. Then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of tomato sauce. I'm using some leftover pizza sauce and it worked out perfect. And then 1 teaspoon or 1 packet of sweetener. We're going to mix that up, and for the last component for the wet ingredients, we're going to add 1/2 cup of mashed kidney beans. This gives it a really nice consistency, so even if you don't have kidney beans, try and substitute some kind of mashed beans into this. We're going to mix that together and add that to our dry ingredients. It is going to take a second to kind of knead it together because you do want to make sure it's not really like a chewy consistency. You want it to be a little bit tougher, so you're going to have to knead it for at least a few minutes. So I think I did about 5 to 6 minutes, which is like, I guess, on the lower end of what you want to do. You can go up to 10 minutes if you like. And then we're gonna lay out some tin foil. And this isn't gonna be like the gyro recipe where we kind of have to make sure it's compacted. We're just actually gonna roll this up into a tube. And it is a little bit difficult to mold it, just so be patient with it, but it will come together. And kind of roll it up like a giant sized candy. And we're gonna bake that for 75 minutes at 325 degrees. Now let's do the sauce, which is pretty much just 1,000 Island. So we're gonna start off with about 1/2 cup of vegan mayo, I think I'm just using veganese for this and it worked fine. Then we're gonna add about 1/4 of a minced onion to it. I made sure it was purple onion, but that's not necessary. You can use a white onion, yellow onion, whatever you have on hand. Then we're gonna add some chopped pickles, as many as you like. As you guys know, I think I mentioned before in a video where I like extra pickles, but I didn't want to go overboard for the sauce because I think I wanted to add pickles onto my sandwich, which I didn't do, but I think I'm gonna do that next time. And then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vinegar. I'm just using rice vinegar, but you can use white or red wine, whatever you have. And then add as much ketchup as you like. I'm not putting a measurement for this because everyone is different. I don't like a whole lot of ketchup in mine, but I know some people are like ketchup heavy. So if you want to add extra ketchup, you go for it. And then I added Tabasco sauce. As you know, I love spice, and this was not going to be an exception to that. And use that to your taste. If you don't like Tabasco, don't add it. But if you like it, add as much as you like. This is after the loaf cooked in the oven for 75 minutes. So just be careful to unwrap it. Steam can come out and burn you, so just be very careful. And it looks really good already. Now we're gonna slice this up. I tried to use a cheese grater. That did not work for me, so it's easier. The best way to do this is just to slice it into thin slices with a knife. Kind of just freehanding it. But you can see the ginger, the onion, the garlic. This is some flavorful meat, you guys. It has a really nice smell too when it's cooking. See, as you can see, this is where I tried to use like the cheese grater, but it didn't work. I gave up. What you gonna do? And just try to slice it as thin as possible. If you like it a little bit thicker, you do you. Make them thicker. Then we're going to butter our bread to make the sandwiches because I like a nice crisp on all my sandwiches, and this is gonna be more like a panini kind of deal. Oh, I'm using, I can't believe it's not butter, but the vegan one. I thought for a second that all of the I can't believe it's not butter butters were vegan, but that's not true. So learn from my mistakes. Just get the vegan one. So just flip that over once it's buttered, and then we're gonna add the dressing onto it, and then some shredded mozzarella cheese. I'm using Follow Your Heart for this one, which is a really good brand, especially if you're new to transitioning to vegan cheeses. Very tasty, especially the Parmesan one. It's so good. So once you got the cheese on there, we're gonna add some sauerkraut, very essential for making a Reuben. And I got the chipotle one because I gotta say it again, I love my spice. So we're gonna add that, and then we're gonna add the slices of the meat. This recipe doesn't make a whole lot. Honestly, it made about, I think, 2 sandwiches. Like, it was one for my dad and I. So if you want to feed your family with this, you're gonna have to double or maybe triple the recipe. But the good thing is most of these ingredients are pretty cheap. Like Vital Wheat gluten is super cheap. So you can feed a whole family for not a lot of cost. So once you add the meat, we're gonna add some more sauerkraut, some more dressing, and then top it with the bread. Now let's move over to the stove, and we're gonna fry this sucker up. You don't need to add oil to it because it's already buttered. If you want to be safe, you can spray some non-stick oil spray on there, just in case. And then we're just going to patiently wait for it to cook. You don't want it to go up above a medium heat because you don't want it to burn, and you want to give the cheese time to melt. So what I also like to do is with making grilled cheeses or any kind of like panini style sandwich, I like to add a lid from like a pot and like smush it down to make it more compact. And this is what the final product looked like. It was so good. My dad, who's an omnivore, really loved this. And I wish my mom was still around so she could have this because I think she'd be pretty proud. It was pretty dang tasty. If you end up making this recipe, don't forget to take a picture of it and tag me in Robert's Aisha. I've been getting a lot more of people trying out my recipes and sending me pictures, so I'm going to be posting a lot of that and sharing it on Instagram. So even if you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and do that. I'll have the link down in my description box. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I will see you tomorrow. But don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And what the heck, why don't you hit that notification bell so when I post, you're going to get that notification. Yeah, notification bell. I sound like an idiot. Okay, guys, it's obviously time for me to go. Bye.